Yep, there we go. Okay, so we are recording. So we want to, yes, Dushan will do that. Everybody's going to be on mute, so if you can use the chat function, that would be amazing. Okay, you can unmute yourselves if you need. So we want to just go through some of the talking points about Accelerate. We know that this is brand new, and a lot of things we actually really want to keep private and confidential. So we're not going to be sharing out a syllabus with everything that we're doing every week. And the reason is the last thing that we would want is for Keller Williams to get a copy of that syllabus and start recruiting against us. We know that this is not the cheapest program. It's not designed to be the cheapest program. And so we're also not publishing until an agent affiliates with us the enrollment form that has the actual pricing and breakdown. And so we're doing this very, very on purpose. A lot of what we're doing is out in the marketplace already. So we appreciate your confidentiality with a lot of these documents that we're going to share with you. It really is all about being proprietary and protecting this product. So if it sounds like we're being jerks, we are protecting this asset. And so we really want to share that. And we also believe that we've created this product to be something worth protecting. You know, launch was great for what it was worth, but this is so much more. And you didn't have a syllabus for launch. You just knew when it was starting. So let's start with that. Steve, when does it start?
February 26th in San Diego, you guys have heard, and that's from noon to 1:30. So anyone in the same that's going to be that has students that will be going to the San Diego one, February 26th from noon to 1:30 here in Suite 300 at the Event Center. The 27th is going to be up in Rancho Santa Margarita, and that I don't know why that slips my mind all of a sudden, but it's 10:30 to noon. All right, so that one's February 27th, 10:30 to noon, and then Temecula will be 12 to 1:30 the next day, which is February 28th. February 28th.
Yeah, so we've got the enrollment form is ready. We're sending it out individually. I sent out that sample enrollment form. We're ready for coaching calls on the 20th. So when it's we've designed this program so that students can enroll the day they affiliate with us. They don't have to wait 6 weeks or five weeks because we have a new series of classes that are starting every 5 weeks. And the way that we've designed these classes is they're in clusters. So no matter what, if a student signs up today and that first 5 weeks is actually on Cegna 4, they're not missing anything by starting on week 4. We would just get a little creative with their schedule. So it may not necessarily be the same time and day every week for their live instruction for that first 5 weeks, but then the remaining 10 weeks would all be at the same time. And so it's a rotating schedule. Live in-person trainings start on the 26th, 27th, and 28th in the 3 locations. And they go, so if a student starts in San Diego on the 26th, their time block is from 12 to 1:30. So for 15 weeks in a row, they're going to be in San Diego at the Mission Valley Training Center for 15 weeks, learning a different skill for 15 weeks in a row from 12 to 1:30. In Temecula on that Wednesday, the 28th, from 12 to 1:30, the same thing. And so, and then what's really great is in 5 weeks after that, so late March or early April, what we've got is a second series that gets stacked on that. And so we've got this huge schedule and things. So if we were to hand you guys all a syllabus, it wouldn't make any sense because there's tons and tons of classes. And by the time we get to June, we'll have had 3 classes going on in each location built upon each other that the students can kind of mix and mash. So really by April 2nd, we will have 3 classes happening in Mission Valley, 2 classes happening in Rancho Santa Margarita, and 2 classes happening in Temecula, and they've all stacked up. The reason San Diego's starting at noon is because we've got peak producers. The very last peak producers is finishing up. So we're starting at noon. Rancho Santa Margarita starts at 10:30 because of their sales meeting ending at 10. And then Temecula is starting at noon because their sales meeting ends at like 11. So it's all kind of stacked and trying to keep everything. I'm going to unmute everybody and see if I can answer any questions about why I'm not sharing the syllabus and why we've sort of scheduled things in 5-week clusters. Oh, wait, I hit the wrong button. I'm kidding. Okay, now we're unmuted. Any questions so far?
I just have a quick question. It's Valerie.
Yes, Valerie.
Are you doing 3 5-week blocks? Is that how you get to the 15, or is that not necessarily so?
That's a great question. So it's actually 15 courses in a row, but we've broken up the 15 courses into 5-week blocks so that a student can start any time in 5 weeks before they move on to the next 5 weeks. So that, because the skills that they're developing the first 5 week really don't start building on anything until the second set of 5 weeks.
So if they come in, let's say on week 3 of the 15, when will they get numbers 1 and 2?
They would start 3, 4, and then when they're on week 6 and 7, they would need to double up. So they would actually be in class for 3 hours to catch up with weeks 1 and 2.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So if somebody's actually starting on week 3, they would actually only have 12 weeks of instruction versus 15 full weeks, but they would still have 15 weeks of business generation activities. So the first component is the live classroom instruction. And that's something that we really saw a need when we surveyed the students that went through, was that the live instruction just went too fast. It was too many days. So we broke that down. So now it's 15 weeks of 90-minute sessions. And that's just the first component. There's 4 full components to it. One is the live instruction. The second one is a weekly business generating activity. So basically prospecting nights. So we've got prospecting. And so it's two in-person events per week for 15 weeks.
So there's 2 prospecting nights, or are you talking about one, the in-class, and then a prospecting night as being 2?
Kim, that's correct. So it's 1 in-person live training,
right,
and then the second live event is a business generating prospecting night.
And what are the hours of that?
They're 5 to 7 in all locations. For San Diego, it's going to be on Thursday nights, so they'll have live instruction on Mondays, and from noon to 1:30. And I'm just talking about the first class because it really gets confusing once you start having 2 classes in one day and then 3 at some point. In early May 7th, we're going to end up having 3 in pretty much all the locations. So, and the other 2 areas, Rancho Santa Margarita, will be on Tuesdays. So the same day as their live training will be the same. That night from 5 to 7 will be business generation. And then I need to speak to Shannon about Temecula. I'm not quite sure about Temecula yet.
I have another question.
Yes.
If I may. Who will be teaching the in-class sessions? Will it be different people at different locations? And then who will be doing the prospecting nights? And the prospecting nights, what is the agenda syllabus plan for that?
Great questions, Kim. So live instruction is Brenda Marcotte. She's coming on as a part-time employee, so no longer 1099 for those. And so she's going to teach all of the live instruction. Steve and I will be auditing all of the classes and making sure that they're going as outlined. Steve is going to be doing the prospecting nights, and based on the prospecting skill, we're going to ask agents who have excelled. So if it's cold calling, like Mike Ferry cold calling, we're going to be asking our Mike Ferry, like say Todd Romano, to come up and be a guest presenter in that and help coach. A lot of our top agents have volunteered already to participate in these sort of things, and so we're going to bring in those talents to really specialize on those sorts of prospecting skills. And so we have 5-week rotations when it comes to prospecting. The first one is activating sphere of influence. So things like that. The second week of prospecting is using social media. So we'll actually have templates and plugins, and bring your laptops, because we're going to be posting all over social media, creating templates, and then, you know, setting up campaigns that, you know, on Monday, this is going to go out at 8 a.m. and building all of those social media strategies for them. Then we've got 3 weeks of cold calling with different emphasis, you know. So the first one's like listed, just sold, and expired. The next one is farming, door knocking, and mailings, and then sort of catch all on the next one.
Okay. Cool.
So and then it just repeats. So every 5 weeks. And so the students during prospecting will do the same type of prospecting 3 times in the 15 weeks,
Okay.
so that they can really decide if that type of prospecting is for them. And so the purpose of the in-person classes and the prospecting night is to expose them to every facet of real estate, so that they can see what they're good at, and we can, and then with the third component, the coaching, Steve can work with them to develop those skills, get them on a training path that really starts diving deep into the skill set that they're connecting with and are good at.
So we're making it easier for them to digest. Instead of shoving it into 3 days, you know, we're not stretching it out. And this is way more extensive than anything out there for sure. You know, and I've even had some questions. Can I not come to the in-person trainings to do everything else? No, that's not this is all about accountability. So, yeah.
And then I want to share our screen. Sorry.
Hey, this is Craig. Can you hear me?
Yes, Craig.
Yes.
What about the technical aspects of like purchase agreement, disclosures, that kind of stuff? If they catch this class in the middle of the schedule, do they end up going a bunch of weeks before they learn about the RPA, or is there a way to catch that right at the beginning of the?
Yes. So the fourth component of this program is an online training center. Our mouse isn't working, so we're not able to share the screen if we can figure that out. So the fourth component is an online component. Every week has a series of classes that a student needs to participate in, and those are online. And then they're supplemented by in-person instruction that kind of builds on itself. So literally week 2, if a student starts on week 1, if they go through, the first one is really kind of business development and understanding why they're working and creating a business and action plan and developing that. But week 2 is purchase agreement 101. And that in-person is more of a guided discussion and deep diving and going through Valerie's template that she provided us of a purchase agreement. But that is only a supplement to a very deep lesson or series of lessons that they'll have done online in our learning management system called Lessonly. So all of the in-person stuff is actually a little bit more advanced than the stuff that they will have learned online, just kind of taking it to a different level. I like to equate that to a college course where you're supposed to read the chapter at home and then come to class to discuss and really hone in the rest of it.
All right, thank you very much.
The layers.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what we were talking about the other day with Brenda. It's like layers of an onion.
And just to go through the 15 weeks of in-person, the first one is understanding your why. Why the heck are you in real estate? What are you working for? How much do you really need to work? Separating the soccer moms from the single moms, right? And knowing who's going to be working harder and what their drive is and connecting all of that stuff. And also kind of weeding out like the people that are really going to take this program to heart and are need the money to survive, right? Week 2 is home buying 101. We're actually talking through the escrow process. Something that we've never done before in our training is what is the escrow process and contingency dates, things like that. Week 3 is purchase agreements and zip forms. Week 4 is the home selling process. We're not just focusing on buyers here. We want to create listing agents out the gate. And then at the end of every 5th series, we're actually bringing in guest speakers. On the first 5 weeks, the thing that sums up their live in person is actually a mastermind with a newbie who's turned successful. So here in San Diego, let's think of Maria Pracararo or Christian Meno, who are just killing it, but they've only been in business for less than 2 years. And so connecting successful newer agents to our trainees, masterminding with them, creating panels, those sort of things. And then week 6 is open house. The open house in person is built on open house online stuff that talks about the rules and regulations on all that, the fundamental legal aspects of your signs and all that gross stuff, right? And then a barrier step in this open house is you have to finish all of your homework and study open house sign, all the laws, come to the class, and then your coach will work with agents in your office to get you an open house. And then you start working open houses, right? GreenPath is involved with Lending 101. Week 8, we go deep dive into the listing agreements, disclosures, mastermind with a top agent. And then week 11 is a workshop on crafting an offer. So it's not just looking at the purchase agreements anymore. It's actually using like pulling up a live listing on the MLS and crafting offers for that listing. Week 12 is buyer consultation. Week 13 is listing presentation, getting escrow involved the next week, and then happy hour with David, Phil, and every other leader in the office that we can find. So it's super robust. Yeah. So if you have a student in Accelerate, we want you to come to the happy hour at the end to really celebrate their success and graduation from the program. So there's a lot, and so if we were to put this in a syllabus and send that out, it's not very pretty, but we also, as soon as, is it working?
It's like
Let's install it.
So any questions on that?
I have a question.
Yes, Kim.
What are you giving the students in terms of a schedule and or syllabus? Can we have that?
Yes, so you can all have access to our training schedule. We've created a centralized calendar that we will share with all of you that you can have access to. And it shows when new classes are starting, what class is going on, in which location, and all of that.
Yay.
So you'll know, like, if you are hiring somebody on May 8th, that you will know that if they start this week, they'll be on class 2 in San Diego, and that will be at 12:30. But also bringing Steve in the enrollment process can let them know when they jump in or when they don't. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So can we play any other questions on that?
No, not exactly on that, but I have somebody that I'm signing up and enrolling tomorrow. Is there room in the 26th?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And what do I do with them? How do I do it?
Get them get me their first name, last name, and email address. That's all I need. And let them know that they're going to be getting an enrollment form, or I can reach out to them beforehand. It's obviously best that I know that they've agreed to it first, because I've gotten a couple that were like, "Who are you, number one? And why are you sending me something I have to pay for $299 for?" So that's happened twice. So as long as they know that it's coming in, and if they want to talk a little bit more in depth about it, that's fine. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Okay, so when I sign her up tomorrow, I'm going to say, okay, we've signed you up. Steve Kilgore will be reaching out to you with the enrollment form for the training on the 26th.
There you
Exactly.
go.
And it comes paperless from DocuSign.
Perfect.
So they take care of, they fill out the form via DocuSign, give us their payment information. Payment, that then comes into Award Services email address. And sorry, we're getting pop-ups. the enrollment form comes to Steve and the award services team. We process their payment, make sure HR has a copy. They upload Lone Wolf at that time with the 21% referral fee. And then Steve calls them with a welcome and says, hey, I'm super excited to be your coach. And kind of like next steps and all that.
Will that be the process ongoing? So if we have somebody, 2 weeks from now that we're going to sign up, in other words, do we just always send the contact information to Steve for our new enrollees?
For now, probably for the unforeseeable future, we're working on some onboarding processes that we can incorporate that in the Salesforce sign up. So if any of you are on the Salesforce sign up, there is a way for you to include that or send that out too.
But for now, the easiest thing is just to give me their name, phone number, obviously, and email address. That's it. I'll take it from there.
All right. So one of the largest components that takes up probably the most of the students' time is actually the online course. So Gabby's going to share with you, for those of you that are on the call, you'll be able to see sort of what Lessonly looks like. And so one of the first classes that we're having the students take is a personality test. And there's a really kind of cool one that we've partnered with. It's a very simple, it's not like DISC, which it can be sometimes very complicated, or the Myers-Briggs and all of that. So it's just the 4-color test, red, yellow, blue, or green. As a sales professional, it's important to be aware of yourself and who you're talking to and being able to identify somebody. We all love Lane. Lane is a green, right? So greens are very data-driven, analytical, mathy people. I'm a red. I'm out there, I do this, I'm gesticulating like crazy, I'm a red. I'm a big promoter. Sometimes I have to dial it back as a red in order to talk to a green, and a green has to bring it up a little bit to talk to a red. And if our salespeople don't develop those skills directly, they're probably shutting down their clients. So we created this kind of fun little thing here where Mark Acheta, if you know him, he's a motivational speaker, and he also wrote a book on personalities. So the student actually clicks on markacheta.com, does the personality test. It's like 55 questions, takes 10 minutes, and then it gets emailed to them. So then they get their results, and then the next series of things describes all of the different kinds of people. So they can just be exposed to it really quick. They're 5-minute YouTube videos. They're kind of fun. Like yellow, you're the nicest person in the world. I don't know if it'll say it. I don't know if you can hear that, but you're a yellow. Yellows are the nicest people in the world. Blue, you're a frat boy. And then green is, you play a lot of chess. So, it's just kind of fun, a little interactive. We gauge this, and then when they come to class, we ask them to bring and answer a couple questions. Where's there? A couple other, just to show a little content. We're also teaching on broker-to-broker referrals right from the beginning. So we've created a bunch of classes for this. It's very interactive. You can flip cards. There's reveal things. It's kind of fun. So we've created brought in a lot of information. Some of the stuff, some more advanced content. And we're actually going to ask all of you as branch managers in the coming weeks. We will assign you all of these classes in all of your free time that we know that you have. We would love for your input on these. What is it? What is it that you like? What don't you like? Do you disagree with some of these different things? But here's a great home buying 101. So the student has to do this this course before they come to the class on Home Buying 101, and we set all of this stuff up. So, all right, how do we?
What are you looking for?
Oh,
How do I go back?
Get out
stop
of
the
this.
share.
Okay,
There's
so
a red thing.
there we go. Any questions? I'm sorry if I've come across as and I've given Steve the direction to say no, we're not sharing our syllabus, but it's really to protect the information and not let our competition sell against it yet. Really create some buzz. We will get you guys a marketing piece. We've worked with it when an agent enrolls in Accelerate for $299, which is just about the same price that they used to pay for launch. They get Top Producer and Market Snapshot because we're going to teach them how to use a CRM to engage with their sphere of influence. 500 business cards, a Century 21 name badge. I don't have the form with me either. Coaching, online instruction, and 2 in-person weekly activities. Oh, and 5 street. For a very minimal upfront cost of $299, and then at closing of their next transaction, a 21% referral fee.
For how many transactions?
Just one.
Oh, just the one. Okay.
Just one.
21% one time.
Okay.
And just real quick on the online, there's a lot of online content. So technically there's, I think, 111 days in this, technically. We would probably have around 100 lessons at least, but they're very easy to digest. You saw how so simple they were to flip through. They're also easy to create. It's just coming up with relevant, information. And so there's a path that will happen that they do this class and then the next one comes up next. And so we can set them on different paths depending on when they come into the system, into Accelerate. But there's a reason for them being in the order that they're going to be in. There's a lot, over 100.
Matt.
Hi. So one question.
Matt's here.
Hi guys. So one question I've been getting is what happens after the training program? So do they still have access to the classes? Do they still have access to the resources? Obviously they refer back to the management team, but what happens next?
That's a great question. So the idea of this program is to take the burden of new licensees off of you guys for their first 90 days. Because we know that they're a big time suck and a lot of your energy has to go for that. So we want to take them off your plate so that you can spend time recruiting. They will have access to the online platform and their coach for 6 months. So for 6 months, their coach is their lifeline. They'll still have access to all the forms and the Lessonly platform for 6 months. And then after that, if they're good and they don't need access to all that stuff, they're back to the branches as normal. But for that first 6 months, we're responsible for them.
Including the first 90 days or after that first 90 days of onboarding?
It's once they enroll.
Okay,
Total
6 months, not
And we're not about just kicking someone to the curb just because there's a timeline. That's certainly not about that. And you guys know me well enough to know that I will help in any way that I can.
Will they be able to keep Top Producer and Market Snapshot for the full 12 months?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. And then we're setting the expectation with them early on, obviously, that they're going to do that every year, pay for it.
Correct.
Then they'll pay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I like it.
Awesome. Does it sound like a program that you guys can sell?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. So excited.
Awesome.
It's pretty thorough. Pretty thorough.
We used to not be great. What other questions?
You said we were going to be able to get to take, you'll look at all the classes. When will that be?
Give us one more week, please.